r/Askreddit by Reddit and chill. Ex-MLM members and recruiters. What are your stories, red flags, and how did you manage to out of the industry? My mother did Amway years ago. She told me she quit when she realized she approached every new acquaintance with an aim to make a sale instead of making a friend. This is what got me out of selling insurance. It wasn't a pyramid scheme. Just a shitty commission job. My co-worker and I were at a bar just chilling after a shit day. Started talking to this guy. And without either of us realizing it, we had launched right into the pitch. I joined Primerica. I didn't see any red flags at first, but small ones started popping up. Like my team leader telling me to basically live outside my means to make people think I was doing really good and then they'd join and then I'd do really good. Or finding out all the contests ran around recruitment and not sales numbers. I left as soon as I realized. Even put my name and number on the do not contact list. Blew a lot of money trying to make that work, only to realize I wasn't going to make any money without ducking my friends. I think Primerica was the one that tried to get me. Just got laid off at the time, so was desperate to get anything. After asking about opportunities on my university's local alumni FB page, someone responded with an opportunity, saying they were HR. A lot of me trusting the company came from them just being an alumni. Red flags started going off when another person casually started contacting me about it. Neither of them told me what the company was. Still dumb enough to show up for what I thought was an interview. Semi-sketchy office building. No signs other than some ones that you would expect in a building like this. Small-time accountants or lawyers. Been a while, so don't remember. Got into the office and they had a projector. Multiple rows of seats. Sign-in sheet for attendees. Lots of people showing up in casual attire when I was dressed up. Obviously an information session, not an interview. Icing on the cake was the swords hanging on the wall that I guess you get when you hit a milestone. Noped out of there really quick before the presentation started. On the way out, my contact followed me out and asked me where I was going. Must not have cared much because only asked once and didn't push when I said it wasn't for me. Got a call about a year later. Again with very little info on who was actually calling. Figured it out when they talked about the information session last year. Told them never to call again after I realized who it was. I was a call agent for Tahitian Noni for the USA and Germany, now called Morinda. It was horrible fielding calls near when people's $120 monthly auto payment was due for 4 1-liter bottles of juice. I couldn't cancel their subscription on late notice without a fax with their signature at least a week in advance. Unless they claimed financial hardship. Eventually I learned that I would just need to feed them what to say and then gladly cancel for them on the phone. Total scam. Only people who made money were the early people to sign up and the founders. Who are multi-millionaires. Holy balls. My uncle had my grandma drinking noni juice for the longest time. She couldn't afford that stuff, but he was convinced all you needed in life was noni juice and a chiropractor. Doctors were bad. Joined a jewelry-based MLM thinking it would be cute to sell jewelry as a side hustle in July after I relocated across the country. I got roped into the be your own boss and make money while you sleep mentality. And for a while, it boosted my confidence because I truly thought I was doing a great job running my own business. On paper, I brought in good money, about $100 per live show, which was 1 hour a week. But I had to ship out the jewelry to them, which ate about 20% of the profit. Then the money earned went back into ordering more jewelry. By September, once the glitz and excitement of it all wore off and I realized nothing was coming back to me, my boyfriend told me the only way to earn money in the business was to add new business partners. I told him I wasn't interested in doing that. But that was part of the scheme. I was so hurt by the people who had roped me into the business. So I quit that same day. Luckily, I made it out with only like $30 lost. But I still have a ton of jewelry and packing materials taking up space in my house. I would sell remaining products on eBay just to get rid of them. My mom was caught up in the Market America scheme. They manipulated an already vulnerable, mentally unstable woman to sink $20K into her business. She took her own life less than a year later. If the company has washed up celebrities as spokespeople and asks you to spend more money than you typically make in your business, You may want to reconsider your investment. Post sleep edit. Thank you all for your support and kind words. Support your local crisis centers and shine a light on mental health. I'm so sorry. That's incredibly heartbreaking. My recruiter told me she made $400 at the party I was at. I later learned she made 25% of that. I was told if I could get 2 people under me, I would make $400 to $500 per month. Then I was told I needed 4 people instead of 2. Then I was $2,000 in debt with nothing to show for it. Deleted them all and changed my phone number. Edit. I am an owner of 2 businesses. So I thought adding a small side hustle would be an easy transition. But it turned out that as a legitimate business owner, I couldn't bring myself to use the toxic business practices that were expected of me. Cold messaging. Hounding people for orders. Constantly reminding people about deals. Etc. When I left, I helped the 2 girls who were under me get out as well. And apologized for roping them into something I thought was a good deal. I helped the 2 girls who were under me get out as well. Did you offer them a job at your legitimate businesses as a way out? Just curious. By not getting in. I've seen a friend and his wife get into Amway. And in 3 years, they sold most of what they had. Moved back in with the husband's mother. And both begin selling drugs to support the Amway habit. They still think they are mere months away from being millionaires. It's infuriating. One of my stepbrothers and his wife got into Amway hard. Even got our parents into it. No matter how many times I tried to tell them it was a pyramid scheme. They just kept telling me they were business owners who were just waiting for the business to kick off. Eventually our parents and my stepbrother got out of it after they realized they're losing money. SB's wife is still in it. Though she's stopped saying she's going to be a millionaire and now just says she makes enough money for all their extra expenses. Amway pays for our Christmas gifts every year. Recently it came out they were in counseling and one of the biggest issues is they're losing money through her Amway and she still refuses to quit it. Our office had an Avon lady that would take our orders on a bi-weekly basis. She was the sweetest person. Not pushy at all. Unfortunately she passed due to an illness and we did not know anyone else who sold Avon. I got the bright idea of signing up as I read on their website that many people would join up solely for the discount. It sounded easy as I was planning on only taking orders for the office. Paid my $25 online and waited for the brochure to come in. Our apartment was always the last stop for the UPS guy. He stopped by one evening near 8 PM hauling a heavy box with Avon all over. He gave me this look of utter hatred. I felt so bad when he asked me if I had signed up to sell. That should have been a red flag. Every time you placed an order you had to buy the catalogs, which were heavy and a nuisance since I only needed 2 at the most for the office. Whatever small credit I gained ended up reinvested on having to buy the catalogs. Not too long after I signed up the calls started. I began receiving calls from various people during work hours to attend meetings. To meet the regional so-and-so. To place orders. How to boost my sales. It became so frustrating at the time as my father became ill and had to be hospitalized, so I kept having to answer every call in case it was hospice nurses or other medical staff. One woman kept calling and calling, so I snapped one day. Told that I didn't plan on attending any meetings and that if she didn't understand that the first few times I told her, then she was a moron. On the bright side, our UPS guy was happy he no longer had to make his routine deliveries or heavy boxes that would end up chucked in the dumpster. I never thought about that. It must be so depressing to be a delivery person seeing so many people buying into fruitless endeavors. Some dude tried to recruit me into selling energy drinks. It was a known scam throughout school at this point, so I decided to go along with it to see where it would go. The guy's dad was a friend of mine. And my dad has a pretty well-known computer shop in town. Anyway, I go to pick up MLM man from his house to go to a meeting. This guy loads 3 cases of energy drinks, I think they were called Vima or something, into my car. I was already sketched out and this was a liability I didn't want to encumber myself with, so I told him I had a family emergency. He got out of the car. Told me to keep the -85 energy drinks. The 3 cases were in my car for a few weeks. Never touched them. About a month after hearing anything, One morning there were maybe 8-10 cases of the energy drink stacked right outside the back door of my dad's shop. 2/10. Would not try to join a cult again. Oh god Vima. All the guys in my barracks were selling that crap. One guy made some money because he got all the other guys in the barracks in on it. I had one con and I was pooping all day long. I know a girl who got sucked into urban. She constantly makes videos on FB and Instagram acting like she has this perfect life, and last I heard, her boyfriend, that she claims, and her husband on social media, had to call her from a gas station to see if they had any cash in the house because both their credit cards were declined and he needed gas to go to a friend's birthday party. Needless to say, he didn't go. It literally says boss babe on her Instagram. Woman I know who sells unique and recruits hard. Pivots between bragging about her boss babe lifestyle and selling random used household stuff on eBay and Facebook Marketplace for £1.50. My story may end up being typical, but I'll tell it anyway. On mobile, so formatting. etc. Anyway, I had just started college right out of high school. Was going to an art school, I know. Bad idea, and was looking for a job to do between classes. Classmates of mine mentioned Cutco. So I naively went in for an interview. Few points to know. I had no previous job experience at all. The office was in the next town over. And I didn't have a driver's license at the time. Let alone a car. My freaking mom drove me to the interview. Got the job anyway. So I get the Cutco bag of stuff to show off and was sent on my way to harass my relatives. I thought that I was only doing example shows to them. Practicing for the real deal. My dad and stepmom even bought some knives. No idea what happened to them though. Last I saw they used a different set. Once I run out to people to bother, I start running into problems. Problem 1 was I didn't sell anything other than that one set. Problem 2 was I hadn't gotten any other people to talk to. The pyramid part of my pyramid scheme wasn't working real well. Problem 3 was the straw that broke the camel's back apparently. I couldn't get to the weekly meetings because my mom refused to drive me across town every week. She had a long commute. The real kicker was Kay didn't even realize it was a MLM until almost a decade later. Browsing this very sub. I also sold Cutco. All I have to show for it is a nice scar on left pointer finger. My sil talked me into selling it works. I was hesitant. Didn't quite need the money. But figured extra income couldn't hurt. Was a seller for 6 months. They kept telling me to add all of these women I have in common with people I'm already friends with. And to post about it 3 to 4 times a day on Facebook and Instagram. I literally made an Instagram for it. They said to message at least 30 people a day about. And twice a week there was a group video chat they kept insisting I join. I couldn't join due to me being at my normal job. All in all, I hated it. I'm awkward and a terrible salesperson. And I made nothing from it. Never made a sale. They kept saying try and get your mom or aunts to support you. It was a waste of money and all. But made out with one new friend. I fell victim to it works as well. I knew something was seriously wrong with the company when they would take your money for their hot new product. And then you wouldn't receive anything for weeks, but they didn't hesitate to take the next payment for the auto shipment that you never receive in the first place. The straw that broke the camel's back was when they charged me 3 times in one day for the same product. And when I reached out to my upline about it, she said I would just have to call them myself. After waiting on hold almost 2 hours, the man on the line at customer support essentially told me that it was an issue with PayPal and not them. And there was nothing he could do. Needless to say, I then called PayPal and reported them, and PayPal essentially blocked them from making any future transactions. I eventually got my money back after a few days. But the whole thing was very inconvenient and definitely left a bad impression of MLM. A good friend joined World Financial Group, also known as WFO. I told her off the bat to avoid it. Major MLM scheme that preyed on family and friends. She of course ignored my advice and went all gung-ho. I told her that if she wanted to keep the friendship, please don't ever ask me to join. And luckily, she didn't. She attended a whole bunch of seminars and even went on a trip to the US, a very expensive trip for her and her guy. paid out of pocket. I think she even had to pay for training and some of the seminars too. Then one day she just stopped talking about it. I assume she grew tired of it and gave up on it. MLM scams encourage asking friends and family members to participate. I fear not to bring it up again, as I'm just glad she stopped going to those meetings. Ducking like and subscribe.